the agricultural specialist who is at the Agricultural Extension Services, who became the wife of the late Dr. Gata, who was at Geza. His first marriage was to Sam Geza. So Geza was also married, a relative of the first family of Zimbabwe. I didn't know that when we were together at the camp outside Chimoyo in 1975, when we university students championed Mugabe to be the leader of the refugees, the Geza was with us, very, very active. Maybe he also was doing it for the relationship which he knew about President Mugabe. We're not allowed to know who were your relatives during the war. So you can see somebody I've been with for a long time. I have an emotional attachment. He's a family friend to me. And even a few days before his demise, he was sending messages to me, to my wife, as a family's best friend. Of course, we were differing politically, but we were fully cognizant of the health condition in which he was, which made him go wayward. He was trying to buy life, but life belongs to God. And the G40s tried to play God for him by promising the prospect of health when his condition was deteriorating. So I can understand what he was doing. I can't countenance it. I can't forgive it, but I can countenance the circumstances in which he was doing it. The only thing important besides life is your health. And your health, when your health begins to falter, you are vulnerable to anything. I say this with a heavy heart, but I also despise those who always think that because they are empty vessels themselves, ideologically, politically, they always want to poach upon the rich heritage of those heroes who fought for the modern day of Zimbabwe and gave it its state, the state of Zimbabwe, which can deliver so much prospect of prosperity to Africa, and which can also put on the stage a statesman of the caliber of President Mnangagwa, with all the institutional memory, starting from the 60s when he was the pioneer trainee of the guerrilla army, which eventually became a mammoth military force to overcome the British. It's a growth trajectory which is rich, which delivers Africa, Zimbabwe, as the only modern African state with the capacity to fight and win a war against the foremost imperial power of all ages, the British Empire. Our friends, the Afrikaners, our fellow citizens, the Afrikaners in South Africa, they go against the British in 1900. They were defeated. And they respect Zimbabwe so much. They say, you are in Africa. There are two people who fought a modern war against Britain. It's us Afrikaners. But heads off to you Zimbabweans. We lost, you won. That's why the president has got a lot of respect from the Afrikaners. By the way, the Afrikaners who have found their way of influence in Washington are the ones who are behind the Tucker Carlson interview. They come from what is called the Hudson Institute, which is a pro-Trump think tank in Washington. And these Afrikaners, they play golf with Trump at Mar-a-Lago every weekend. You know them. Gary Player, you may not know. He was the Nick Price of golf for many years. He's a short South African golf player, legendary. He is part of this Afrikaner outfit around President Trump. Elon Musk, all of you know him. You know of Andre Pina, the one who was dealing with the scorpions. You know the vice president of Amazon is the wife of Andre Pina. He's the vice president of Bezos. So the Afrikaners are the ones who are also championing Zimbabwe and our president in Washington. That's why the interview with Tucker Carlson was possible. It is coming from an on-site constituency in Washington. I may want to tell you this. We now have an unspoken lobby group in Washington on behalf of Zimbabwe. It has marginalized all this howling, this heckling from the Democratic Party side of those in Zimbabwe who were loitering around US aid. Because US aid was essentially an outfit of the Democrats, for a slush fund for the Democrats to influence politics at home, but also to influence politics abroad. So Trump saw it fit to abolish it as soon as he came to power. And that's what collapsed all this clamoring by NGOs. They lost salaries. Ana Zulu ku Washington kwa vai broadcast. Mshambovanzwa. Zvakapera. So, you know, you can see we are strong and going ahead. They've lost the support of their patrons. How does it feel that you go to a church, your usual church, and by the time you arrive, you are told the bishop is no longer in the church, he's been converted to another church? That's what has happened. America was the strong rallying cry of those who purported to be human rights pundits or activists in Zimbabwe, and democracy activists of all hue and sound. Now, there's no way to report to in Washington. And the channel of reporting US aid has been cut. At Nimburwa, the umbilical cord to Washington is gone. Now, that's why we could have Tucker Carlson interview. And I want to thank him very much for giving Zimbabwe another fighting chance and for giving my president the prospect of projecting himself on the global stage. I want to thank you. Question?
Yes, thank you very much. Efforting secure with the SABC. Mine has to do with, you spoke of Resolution 1 and the bill that is on the table for Parliament. You also spoke about, you spoke that the president's position within the party is at its strongest.
Mm-hmm.
But the way the bill has been tabled, or the way the bill has been presented, it seems that it is avoiding the true test of the electorate in terms of amending the constitution. Mm-hmm. My question is ZANU-PF confident if the process were to lead to a referendum where the electorate itself would decide on the final outcome of the bill?
Look, I don't want to preempt the processes. You know, Zimbabwe is a constitutional democracy with the three pillars of power: parliament, the executive, and the judiciary. So, and these are now, the bodies now in play to all three of them. The executive has done its job, which is to gazette the bill. The parliament is there to look at the bill. The parliament is actually made up of representatives of the people in Zimbabwe. It's an elected parliament. They represent the people of Zimbabwe. So they will look at the bill. Then there are those who may want to have different views. There's the third option of scrutiny of the bill, which is the judiciary. So I don't want to be I don't want to put myself too much ahead of those processes which have to be gone through by trying to preempt their duty to look at the current evolution in Zimbabwean politics. We are not afraid of the referendum. If the elections which are going on, by-elections are going on now, are an indication, we still will sweep in a referendum if that becomes the way to go. But for the present time, we are going the route of parliament. In a democracy, that's the representative of the people are in parliament. So let's give that process a chance. But we have no fear of any avenue which may be availed to us by the intervention of the other two wings of the Zimbabwean governing pillar, which is the parliament and the judiciary. We have no fear as a party. We feel that legally we are on very solid grounds on the issue. We are working in sync with the Constitution. But this may be a matter which may now be sub judice, because some people have been sponsored to try to challenge that bill. So I don't want also to start pronouncing myself on matters which could be sub judice. Another question?
My name is Enu Yotam, I'm a freelance journalist.
Yes.
Ambassador Mutsvangwa, we've seen some war veterans. They've approached the court over that bill. Are they part of your organization?
No, they've always been suspect war veterans sometimes, but also those who may be prone to pecuniary persuasion. I mean, somebody may have just decided to bribe them or do anything in order to look like spoilers. It is in line with what I said earlier on. The gravitas of the war veterans for their noble task in liberating Zimbabwe is one which is craved for by those who never did anything and those who want to oppose the Zimbabwe revolution. The weight of the gravitas of the heroes of the national liberation movement is one which is placed premium on the market of political bargaining. So you want to do anything, you want to wear the hat of the war veterans or to be associated with the war veterans. Because on your own, you are empty, you have nothing to offer. So they go and poach among, and there are many war veterans who survived, who may still be alive. So you find the one in the street, you persuade him to become a detractor, and look at the abuse of what they did to Geza because he was sick. There may also be similar circumstances concerning other war veterans. It's interesting that they don't go to, they can't among themselves have people with gravity to carry out their assignments. So they always want to abuse war veterans. And it's said that there are some war veterans who fell into that trap of being abused.
Another question?
Well, thank you so much. How many are we? I have to treat you for lunch.
There's been a count.
Huh?
61.
61. Ah, okay. So thank you so much. There's no other question. I'm sure there isn't. Maybe there's something behind the. No, it looks like
All questions have been answered.
everybody is happy. I'm thank you. The silence means consent.
Thank you so much.
I have to rush to someone there at 60. I have to rush to check by election.